Cenk Uygur no longer believes the official story on 9/11. That's what he posted yesterday on his X. And of course, it drew a lot of controversy from even what we could say his own side, from the left, and probably from every single normal person that isn't completely conspiracy brained and isn't completely um, haven't had their mind completely destroyed by conspiracies. I guess that's how I would put it. Welcome to the Daily Objective. My name is Daniel, and today I'll take you through, on this Valentine Day, I'll take you through his recent posts he made, some of the additions he also added. We'll also watch one of his older videos. Since I think there's something interesting there. In general, I'll talk about, especially from the Chang I know, from everything I've seen him so far. We'll talk about, I think, what brought him here eventually, because I think there's an interesting answer to it. So stay tuned to find out. So, what is the actual post he said? So let's take a look. This was Cenk Uygur on February 13th. He said, "I no longer believe the official 9/11 story. Two paper passports did not burn and were found on the rubble, but it was so hot, the World Trade Center Tower 7 burned down across the street. Nonsense. It's time to look for who gained from 9/11. Our government doesn't work for us. They've been lying whole time." So there's a lot to go through. So when it comes to, because of course he asserts a lot of the classic conspiracy bringing up facts, or sort of conspiracies, like specific points to bring up. So I'll try to answer some of them from what I know, but again, I haven't. I don't try to spend too much time of like trying to debunk conspiracies. So take my debunking for what it is. I'll just cover it, and I'm sure there are other people out there who are much better at it. But just with specifically the two paper passports, from what I've seen, and I think he even got community noted on this, there weren't two paper passports found specifically there. There was one passport in New York that was actually given to one of the detectives prior to even one of the buildings collapse. So it was found before, so before they burned down. And the two other ones were, I think, found in Pennsylvania. I think that's where it actually was. But let's start with, okay, what is the official story? So I asked ChatGPT to like give me like a better summary, because whatever I would find out would have too much information in it. So we have a two-sentence summary from ChatGPT. The official account concludes that on September 11, 2001, 19 hijackers affiliated with Al Qaeda, led by Osama bin Laden, carried out coordinated suicide attacks by hijacking four commercial airplanes. Two planes struck the World Trade Center towers in New York, one hit the Pentagon, and a fourth crashed in Pennsylvania after passengers resisted, leading to the collapse of the Twin Towers and nearly 3,000 deaths. So that's the official account. That is what he's disputing. But what is he disputing really, right? He is not disputing that the towers fell. He's not disputing that people have died. He's I assume he's not disputing that, there were hijackers. So what specifically he seems to be disputing is, I guess it would be who actually led it. Was it led by? Well, he doesn't necessarily say so, right? He is at the stage where he's just asking the questions. He put out this tweet. Not to mention, by the way, like this is the tweet he put out, right? And the first exact, like right, the first thing is wrong. Like the two paper passports, they weren't in New York. Like this is a factual thing he already got wrong. So there is no actual um there's no actual care for like any of the facts. Like even when it comes to conspiracies, I feel like you could do better. But no, he didn't get that. But I guess we'll go with it. Um, So let's read a little bit more. And he talks about, how our government, meaning the US, doesn't work for us. They've been lying a whole time. So we'll talk about that in a little bit later. But just to read a little bit further, To my normie friends who'll be outraged by this, we have been brainwashed by corporate media all our lives. They said that anything that isn't the official government story is a conspiracy theory. Only insane people believe, to gaslight you into never questioning the government. Why am I questioning this now? That's obvious. We just found out our government, he misspelled government. Our government was lying to us for decades about the child rape ring inside America. And our, in quotes, government protected the predators instead of American children. You'd have to be an idiot to trust the US government now. And so here is again, like there is no honesty for what is happening here, right? And we'll talk about. So he brings up obviously the Epstein case, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. But just go into it, right? Like corporate media doesn't want, like, never wants you to question the government. Like, where is this from? What? But, by the way, Cenk Uygur and the Young Turks, it's corporate media. It's a corporation that that has media, that has interest, that tries to put forward. But besides the point, like the media doesn't want you to question the government. Who actually, like, who holds the government accountable the most? It is the media. It's always coming from that part of the sphere. Who else is actually holding government accountable? I mean, government that holds itself accountable to a large extent, and we have seen that in the past. Government officials get investigated. Even the people who are working for Israel get investigated and go to jail, as much as people wouldn't like to believe, people like Cenk. And now he's talking about specifically the Epstein case, and the government has been lying, and that the government protected the predators instead of American children. Uh, let's see. Akira in the chat says the whole Epstein hysteria is uniting the anti-Semitic left and right. I've seen most people calling Epstein a Mossad agent. Yeah, it always goes back to the Jews, right? Like he talks about 9/11 and he connects it to Epstein. And of course, both of those, like when he's talking about like who is actually the government and who is the government actually controlling and who did this benefit, like he's clearly implied. Like I wish he just said it. I wish he just said it. Like, yeah, it's the Jews, and we should do something about them. At least I don't know if I would call it honest, but at least we would know where he actually stands. We know where he stands, but at least it would be actually on the table. Um, but when it comes to the whole Epstein case, like what like cover up are we talking about really? Like and well, I should say, like, obviously, Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein did terrible things when it comes to child sex trafficking, and both of them were, oh, or at least Epstein was definitely a child predator, as well as many others who, I mean, it's disgusting to say it like this, but used his services, right? Had sex with underage girls. But Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were both investigated. Both of them were charged. Epstein, of course, killed himself, so he didn't go to trial, but he was in prison. And Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted. She got over 20 years in federal prison. Um, this was investigated. This happened, right? When it comes to the others, um, uh, like it's unfortunate. Like here is the thing, right? When it comes to the other Epstein, let's say like more people didn't get convicted, right? It sucks. It doesn't mean that bad things didn't happen, but what we are talking about is with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, I think it was relatively easy to get them because they were the organizers. They were behind every single thing. But let's say we are talking about somebody who, visited his island once or did something once. Like you need to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt. So what do you need? You need a victim willing to testify, meaning, let's say 15, 20 years later, you need to bring, a girl that was there when she was 13, 14. Now she's 35. You need to bring her and you need her to testify. You need her to testify about the terrible things that were done to her, right? You need to bring it up again. You need to put her to the public. Uh, she needs to there needs to be a specific memory. She needs to recall specifically the moment that it happened and location. We need a proof that the person who was accused was there. We need a proof that the victim was underage. We need a proof that the sexual activity occurred, which is hard to do 20 years later. We need to in certain cases, we need even a proof that the person who had the intercourse with the underage girl actually knew she was underage. So this and all of that has to be proved beyond a reasonable doubt. That's hard to prove. And I think that's why we didn't see more prosecutions. Like, we have to realize Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein were both charged under Trump. Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted under Biden, actually. So charged under Trump, convicted under Biden. Now it's again Trump. So both of them, and also before, had a chance to, well, investigations happen, had the chance to charge somebody. The fact is, I mean, especially with sexual crimes, it's really hard to charge somebody. And I went through the Epstein files. I went through some of it, not all of it. Some of the things said that are terrible, but a lot of it is hearsay, which, if true, is terrible, but is not enough to convict somebody. Like, I could bring up a story with. I mean, I'll bring it up with Trump because I specifically remember it. But there is a story in the Epstein files. That alleges that Trump and Epstein raped a girl together, and then she killed herself. Or I think they may have even like killed her. I should like this was that, right? But the story was basically, I think it was like a taxi driver overheard the conversation, and then this was collaborated a little bit with somebody else. It's like terrible thing to do if it's happened, but that's like you cannot convict somebody on and that's what sucks like with these crimes. But trying to say that this is like a cover up, trying to say because here is a question, like what would have to happen for like Cenk to be uh for like Cenk to be okay with it? Like, should we trample over all laws just to, anybody mentioned in the Epstein files is getting 50 years in prison, or 5 years, or 15, or 20, or whatever, just because they were mentioned there? Or do we actually have to prove that, people did terrible things? I mean, I'm sure Cenk's perfect government, probably like Soviet Union, you would just put the people against the wall and have them shot, which he would say is preferable. But here we presume innocence, even when terrible things are alleged and terrible things happened. You still have to prove, and it's hard and it sucks. I mean, I hate it. Like, if there are victims, or if there are people who had terrible things done to them, and in a sense they'll never get justice. I mean, it's terrible. But again, what is he trying to say here? So let's go a little bit back and let me think what we should cover. So yeah, I should just say, yeah, it's sort of funny. Like, he starts with 9/11 and immediately goes to Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Um, and let's talk about, I think his, I'm just trying to think. No, actually, let's take a look here first. So Owen Jones came to the rescue. I don't know if we want to call it that, but Owen Jones commented very fast after he posted it. Owen Jones said, "This is just totally insane. This means, quote, a vast conspiracy involving a huge number of people where you have to guarantee every single person stays silent, and if they don't, the US implodes as a country, and all the guilty people are imprisoned, executed, murdered." So this is a quote. I'm wondering if he took it specifically from something Cenk has said in the past. But yeah, Owen Jones is right in this case. Any sort of conspiracy like that requires an immense amount of people to coordinate. Again, people that hate each other. Like, I don't know if people know that, but generally CIA and FBI, like the whole reason Or the big reason why we even had a problem with the 9/11 is because of the non-cooperation between FBI and CIA, because both of them are secretive organizations that don't really like to share information with other sides. I believe that was one reason why the Department of Homeland Security was actually created, is to sort of facilitate more information between different agencies, security agencies and law agencies specifically. Um, like again, like he doesn't have to say like at some point he says like CIA failed, and like he doesn't have to state it. Like yeah, two planes like rammed into two buildings. Obviously CIA failed. Obviously something has failed when something like this happened. But but it's always uh for him it's always like some kind of conspiracy. It's always something nefarious going on. Um Chang then responded to Owen Jones. He said, "You mean like all the people inside the government who covered up the Epstein case? I thought, like you did before, it would take too many people to stay silent for too long. Then I saw tons of government officials help powerful people rape our kids. They all hid that for decades." Owen Jones replied, "You must surely see the difference between the cover up of heinous sex crimes and a gigantic conspiracy by a government to slaughter thousands of its own citizens. And Epstein was arrested and before that imprisoned. Do you not think that'd be just one whistleblower? Why did Biden, sorry, why did bin Laden claim responsibility for the attacks? Why did 19 mostly Saudi hijackers agree to kill themselves if your theory makes any sense? For what end? Also, just consider the gain loss calculation. A bunch of US officials sat around and said, "We really want to invade Afghanistan and Iraq, so let's crash someplace into the World Trade Center and Pentagon." Uh, is disaster he had this in brackets, invading Iraq and Afghanistan were the potential loss of the collapse of the United States and the mass incarceration, execution of everyone involved in this plot. Um, Somebody says Bin Laden denied involvement. That's never heard that before. We have a super chat from Jonathan. Thank you so much. And again, he's like right here, right? Like the amount of people, and he knows, like we know this, and everybody know, I shouldn't say, I shouldn't use everybody like this. Cenk knows this. Cenk knows the amount of people you'd have to like take control and to not have one whistleblower. Like here's the thing. When America did bad things in the past, we know about it. We know about the Trail of Tears and what America did to Indians. We know about the internment camps for the Japanese population during World War II. We like we every single thing that happened in the South by the Union. Some of the really terrible things. I mean, like raping of the uh, slaves by the Union Army specifically. Uh, like we know that because somebody talked, because these things go around. Like you cannot hide them. You cannot hide something really bad for really long. Even let's take a look at I guess well Cenk Uygur doesn't even go what he believes actually has happened, so it's hard to me like talk about it specifically. But let's say but by the way, everybody is now talking about how like initially he denied it. I'm Bin Laden initially denied involvement. Like all right. But let's talk about the actual false flags, right? When they happen, we very quickly know about them. Let's take the little green man. The basically there were Russian soldiers in Crimea during the 2014 that helped to basically take it over, and they were unmarked. They were unmarked with the Russian military, and Russia said, "Hey, we have nothing to do with it." And one, we knew that it was Russia, and then Russia actually confirmed it. What about the start of World War II? German invasion on Poland was a false flag attack. Germany dressed up as Polish soldiers and attacked its own station to justify, I think, like a weather station, to justify invasion of Poland. That was a false flag attack. We knew about it. We understood what it is. But somehow America was able to pull this off. America was able to pull off the biggest false flag attack ever in history. No one knows about it. No one knows what happened. Um, Somebody says, "Do you really believe a few crazy beginner pilots with box cutters could pull something like this?" I don't know. How hard is it to like fly a plane? Have you tried it? Especially if you don't have to land it. Like you just ram it into a building. I mean, I don't know how, and it was like hard. Like again, what are we talking about? It was specific. Like they took flight lessons in America. Um, like I'm not going to, and again, I shouldn't be debunking this. One, I don't, I don't know the full conspiracy. I'm not gonna like try to debunk every single claim somebody brings up, because a lot of times, like the world is uh, the world is complicated, right? And it's a lot of weird things happen, a lot of hard to explain things happen. But I'm still gonna go with that it's probably more likely that a few terrorists wanted to destroy a World Trade Center than America wanted to destroy Trade Center to then invade Iraq of all countries and Afghanistan, and then 20 years later pull out of there without really doing anything. And even during Bush, who supposedly, I guess they would say, orchestrated it, somehow like screwed, like didn't know what he actually wanted to do. We didn't, it was Saudi hijackers, but we didn't do anything to Saudi Arabia. We didn't do anything with Iran, despite Iran being probably America's biggest enemy, um, pretty much since the inception of the Iranian Revolution. Um, yeah, and Chandler brings up these idiots don't know what airports were like before 2001. Yeah, I just watched this movie from I think the 80s or the 90s, and like the airport in the movie, so the movie itself was like filmed in like the 90s. The people, that was like a bus station. People just walked up and went to the plane. Yeah, people don't. I mean, I don't know what the world was like before 9/11, especially airports. But yeah, from the things I've seen, it's insane how little security there was at airports. Um, so what else is that to cover? So, oh, we do have a clip. So let's actually take a look at the clip I had ready. So this was from I think September or November. I think September or October last year, and yeah, this is Cenk Uygur and Anna Kasparian. Uh, okay, wait, why is it not working? Okay, let me just give it one more try. Okay, I don't know why Zoom was okay, now we can listen to it.
And asking the question doesn't mean that you already think that it's a conspiracy and you're just trying to prove that it's a conspiracy. The questions about Building 7 are legitimate questions. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, look, I'm willing to get convinced on anything, but Building 7 is a mystery that is nearly impossible. Like the idea that the towers would collapse themselves, north and south, after they got hit, that the steel could burn so much that they could collapse is a very controversial idea within engineering circles, right? But the fact, but a building across the street with other buildings in between, no, the steel didn't burn down. No way. That is not the correct answer.
Oh, so he's asking the questions, but apparently he already has the answers. Um, so again, here we are. Like, what Cheng is doing is unfalsifiable. Like, what could I say? Like I could say, right? It was the debris from one of the towers that like dropped on Tower 7. Then it was the fire. The structural, like the building was kind of mismanaged, so we didn't have sprinklers, and it was done wrongly. And it was like a whole screw up. So that's why that specific building was damaged. And now he's saying, I don't know what he's trying to imply. This is what's hard, right? So did we specifically need Tower 7? Like, if it was just the Twin Towers, Iraq and Afghanistan wouldn't have happened. Like, I don't know how many people died in Tower 7. But let's say it was like 500 there and 2,500 in the rest. And Bonnie in the chat says the arbitrary has no standing. Yeah, because all of this is arbitrary. But let's say Tower 7 didn't collapse and it was like 500 less victims. Suddenly Afghanistan and Iraq doesn't happen. So it needed to happen. We needed to also get Tower 7. We wouldn't be able to do, like, the US government wouldn't be able to justify any actions if not for Tower 7. Like, was that what specifically? Like, they are bringing up like every single thing they can. Somebody says about 3,000 died in Twin Towers. So it was 3,000 specifically in Twin Towers, because I know also Tower 7 collapsed, and I don't know how many people died there. Uh, but here's what's happening. Like, they're just bringing up this like example, like different example after different example, but none of that actually connects. None of that actually connects to any full point. And as I've said, how can I prove him wrong? What can I say to and people in the chat who are like doing like the proofs? What can I say to make you prove wrong? What investigation do I need to put in to um to agree or disagree, right? What can I do on the other side? What can I do to prove that this was a conspiracy? What would have to happen for them to acknowledge one way or the other? Like, every single thing they bring up was probably investigated. Uh, like, people had their family that died on 9/11. People had interest in doing something about it, in investigating it, in making sure the right people are punished. If it was the government, um, not a single whistleblower. FBI, CIA, the New York police, the presidency, the Justice Department, the whole judiciary, all of the Congress, every single congressman, a congressman from like somewhere, nowhere, like middle of, I don't know, Kentucky, is also complicit in this. Somebody that got voted in for, I don't know, with like 10,000 votes. All of them, every single one is complicit. Every single bureaucrat, every single US bureaucrat is also complicit. Not a single whistleblower. 20 years later, by the way. Still nobody, not a single thing. But uh but yeah, I think like it feels like Cenk is one of those people that would say like history is written by victors, not really understanding the quote, just thinking that it means America can just do whatever it wants, or not even America, but specifically like the president or the government can just do anything it wants. Uh, um, by the way, people are bringing up a lot of like points, conspiracies, that people like. I see BBC reported Building 7 collapsing before it happened. Uh, and no whistleblowers because they were in the planes. Oh yeah. Wait, so the only people who knew about 9/11 were the terrorists that did it? That's not a whistleblower. That's the people who did it. So the US government didn't know that it's orchestrating an attack on its own soil. Like they didn't know about it. It was just the terrorists. It was just terrorists and bin Laden and Al Qaeda that actually knew that this was going to happen. Nobody else. It's so secret that not even the US government knew about. Oh, I guess this connects, they probably think it's the Jews who did it. So I guess that's why it connects here. Yeah, but I just wanted to say people are bringing a lot of different conspiracies. Again, I would say I'd say it's mostly not worth it to look into it because you could look up every single claim, and I looked up a bunch of them, like the BBC story, for example. Uh, but it's not interesting. It's about arbitrary, and I think we have much more important things to do. What is terrible is the fact that somebody like Cenk Uygur, and I know I shouldn't demand any great things or any decent things from even people like Cenk Uygur, but again, somebody who has a lot of people that listen to him, uh, like is like conspiracies, is getting buddy with like Tucker Carlson with uh with Candace Owens, like completely frying their brain. Oh, and I wanted to, okay, let's get to the main point I actually wanted to cover. And I think what is the reason behind it? When you go into things Cenk Uygur says, oftentimes he talks about money in politics. Oftentimes he talks about, corruption, that everything is being hidden by the rich billionaires or by the Zionist billionaires. I don't know if he says that. But some people we've talked about say, the Zionist bill. Oh, no. Wait, I'm trying to remember who it was. Who did we talk about? Maybe somebody can remind me in the chat. Who talked about the Oh, it was Kyle Kalinske who talked about the Zionist billionaires, MAGA Zionist billionaires specifically. Uh, so when he talks about money in politics, he talks about corruption. So he fundamentally doesn't believe that Americans have independent minds, that they have ability to actually decide for themselves what is true and what is not. He thinks all of them are being manipulated. Cenk Uygur believes that everybody wants socialism, that socialism is the greatest thing ever, and everybody wants it. Chandler in the chat wants it. Bonnie in the chat wants it. Every single person in the chat, even the non-members, want socialism in America, but they are lied to by the corporate media, and they are lied to by the corporate Democrats and corporate donors and corporate Republicans and corporate presidents. All of them are being lied to. And therefore, we cannot have socialism because everybody is being lied to. So if we can only stop the lying by the corporate media and by the government, then everybody will want socialism. And if you go into the statements, he says everything really fits that. Unlike his conspiracy, that has no connection to anything else, what I say actually holds. Whenever he talks about it, he always talks about how there is this nefarious influence on the American population that is making it believe in something they do not want to actually support. Um, so yeah, and in that way, I think that's why he is becoming a conspiracist, because it fits the same memo, right? He doesn't believe. Like, I think Americans were angry after 9/11. Americans wanted something to be done so this doesn't happen again. Unfortunately, the philosophy of both the government and unfortunately the people is not good. So we didn't recognize the true enemy, Iran, to actually target, and well, I should say Iraq and Afghanistan were still problematic, but I don't think we're sort of direct enemies in the same sense, unlike Iran is. And it is actually the improper philosophy. So what Cenk believes is that nobody wanted Iraq. No American wanted Iraq or Afghanistan to happen. So they were lied to. The only way to explain it is they were lied to uh, by the government, and um, that's why it happens. Bonnie says, but the government does lie. So unfortunately, Cenk has many followers for the wrong reasons. I mean, even here, it's like a truism. The government lies. I mean, what do we mean? Do you mean like a police will just come into your house, like rape you, kill you, and then nothing will ever happen to anybody? Or do we mean like specific, like the government itself, like everything is bad, everything is corrupted? Or do we mean by, the government is made up by people, those people can do bad things, Those people can do incompetent things. I mean, when it comes to CIA, right? In 9/11, there was incompetency, if not anything else, or sort of the lack of communication between FBI and CIA. Um, so what does it mean? Again, like lies, right? Do we mean lies as in, Trump doesn't say everything he means, or do we mean lie as in, the government is secretly like kidnapping children around America and putting them on Epstein Island so everybody, can do whatever they want with them. Like that's why I hate. Um, like broad statements like the government lies. Like that means nothing. Like that statement holds no validity because you're not actually saying anything. But that's what Cheng is. He's just feels like he says something um, without actually doing anything proper. Because a lot of the stuff he says, I cannot even debunk. Like when he says the government lies, like what am I supposed to say to that? Like who do you mean specifically? In what specific instance? Um, uh, Sorry, I'm reading too many conspiracies in the chat, so it's hard to react. Um, but yeah, I should say, yeah, when it comes to any sort of conspiracy, when it comes to like talking about the government, again, especially talking about American government, that's one that has a lot of checks and balances. That's one that has properly separated branches, that has independent judiciary, that can investigate, that does investigate crime even by politicians. Frequently, we have politicians being investigated. I mean, Trump himself. Trump himself is a convicted felon. We have a person in the White House who is a convicted felon right now. Trump even filed in many like civilly liable cases, lost many civil cases. Like this happens. America investigates. I shouldn't say America. The different either the local district attorneys, or when we go to the what is it? Uh, how do we refer to no, not Secretary General. How do we? Okay, somebody can remind me in the chat. How do we refer to the secretary at the Department of Justice? Governor General. No, it's not Governor General. Maybe somebody can remind me how we refer to the Secretary of Department of Justice. But yeah, like or it happens. Attorney General, Jesus, thank you so much. Or the investigations come from there. Like this happens. We like America does that. America investigates people, and people get punished. Like Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, the main people behind that whole scandal. They were convicted. Well, they were charged. Epstein didn't live long enough to get actually convicted. But Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted. Like this did happen. So crimes happened, crimes were acknowledged, and bad things did happen. Just because we cannot prosecute every single person that did every single bad thing in the world doesn't mean that the American system is collapsing or is not working. But that's the thing. Cenk Uygur doesn't actually care about American liberal democracy. He doesn't actually care about the American separation of powers. He wants a socialist state. He wants to abolish independent judiciary. He wants to abolish democracy, even. I mean, democratic processes in America. He doesn't care for the Constitution. So when he says America, well, he doesn't say America was behind 9/11. When he heavily implies that America was behind 9/11, he doesn't, that's not an attack on specific people. That is attack on America. That is attack on every institution in America. That is attack on the whole American system. And I don't think something like that should be tolerated. I don't think something like that Yeah, it should be acceptable. So that's why, I would give it to Owen Jones. We talk about Owen Jones, we disagree with him. And I think when it comes to the Palestinian issue, he is one of the definitely worst people in the UK on that specific issue. Uh, but at least that's one conspiracy he dismisses, and um, I think that's good to see, and that should happen. Um, I'm just trying to comb through the chat. Somebody says, and you still think they wouldn't lie. Again, like, who's the they? Like, they, like, some, like, do we mean the president? Do we mean the Congress? Do we mean the Senate specifically? Do we mean like, or do we mean some like old lady who's like a secretary at the White House or one of the clerks? Are we talking about Supreme Court? Like, who's the they? Nobody ever says. It's always like the government is this one monolith. Like, no individuals in the government. It's just the government. And everybody in the government loves each other. Nobody has problem with anybody else. Everybody's working together. Which, if you've ever seen, like, people should actually check out like one session in House. I think watching parliamentary sessions, I love watching parliamentary sessions in my own country because I know, okay, these people will never like do like a conspiracy together. Like, there is a lot of different pools when it comes to pretty much every branch of government in every uh in every legitimate civilized country. Um, yeah, Ian says it's the same with election fraud claims, never specific. Yeah, it's very similar. It's like fraud happened in election, and it's like, yeah, some is bound to happen. I mean, what specifically do you want to talk about? But yeah, that's right. It's always broad. It's never, because when it is specific, then you can actually talk about it, right? If you say a specific person lied about the weapons of mass destruction, well, then we can talk about what he specifically said and what he specifically meant and what was the reasoning behind it, etc., etc. But again, it's never like that. Well, with that, I think we've covered enough of today. We also have a super chat from Bonnie. I'm not sure if I read it up. So, Bonnie, thank you so much for a super chat. If I didn't. And yeah, so I think I mostly summarized what I wanted to say. Um, we might talk about it more if he goes like more into something. But generally, yeah, I hate conspiracism because there is no people who engage in conspiracism are not in I mean fundamentally not in touch with reality. So I don't know how to talk to those people. Like, if somebody isn't persuaded by logic, what are you supposed to how are you supposed to talk to them? Bonnie is asking, is James still on for Tuesday? I believe so, but we'll most likely have announcement either later today or tomorrow, definitely confirming. So be in watch for that, and we'll also ask for questions. For those who don't know, it's for YouTube members and website members, and it's going to be specifically about the recent, relatively recent statement from James where he talked about how he no longer calls himself an objectivist. So we'll have a Q&A on that specific post, and also just broadly, what does it mean to be an objectivist, or rather to call yourself an objectivist? So make sure to watch out for that news. If you're a YouTube member, you'll get a post. If you are a website member, you'll get an email, like I said, either later today or tomorrow. With that, thank you guys for joining me today on this show, and I'll be back tomorrow with another episode of the Daily Objective. Until then, bye bye.